walk back through my mind past pictures of a time gone by. Little things came close yet stayed so far away. I cannot tell you why. Two lovers walking in a hazy rain were like the friends that I once knew. With nothing to lose and all of life to gain, I was there, but where were you? Tell me, why is it now, when it's all in the past and the memories of dreams are behind me? Why yesterday and you seem to come around to remind me. Talking in the afternoon, couldn't hear the words they said. Promises made and faded far too soon to outlive the time ahead. Tell me, why is it now, when it's all in the past, do I think of the rain and remember, and all those summer days in my mind come September.
I want to tell you a little story about a man from Oklahoma. Born July 14th of 1912 in Okemah, Oklahoma, Woodrow Wilson Guthrie. Woody Guthrie wrote over 1,000 American folk songs in his short life, and you know what? He didn't use an original melody for any one of those songs. Not Woody Guthrie. Woody Guthrie was the greatest parodist of the 20th century. He took songs he already knew, and he changed the words around, and he made up new words to old tunes, and he did it over 1,000 times. And most of those tunes he borrowed from the 78 RPM recordings of his favorite band, the Carter Family. So here's a true story about Woody. Woody was in California in February of 1940, and he decided he was going to hitchhike across the United States and go to New York City without a jacket, a suitcase, or a guitar. So he stuck out his thumb, and he hitchhiked across this country, and as he traveled, he heard a brand new song on the radio that had just been written by a man, a Russian immigrant who wrote popular music in the United States named Irving Berlin. And this song was a brand new song in 1939. Kate Smith had recorded it, and it was on every radio station and jukebox, and Woody heard it so many times on the trip across the country. You know the song I mean, the one that goes, God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. Well, Woody got so sick and tired of hearing this song over and over and over again on that trip across the country. And then at one point, he heard a disc jockey on the radio mention that that song might become the national anthem of the United States, and that was all Woody could take. He was so upset, he made a vow to himself that when he got to New York City, he was going to write another song about the United States that said all the things about this country God bless America didn't say. So when he got to New York City, he stayed at the home of Will and Herta Gere. Remember Will Gere, the great Shakespearean actor? Man who played Grandpa Walton on The Waltons at the end of his career. Well, you know, most people who had Woody Guthrie as a house guest would find that he would sleep on the couch with his boots on and wreck the couch and leave it dirty, and most families wouldn't fall for that more than once, but Will Gere thought that Woody Guthrie could do no wrong. Woody spent a couple of weeks at their brownstone in New York sleeping on the couch, and there he borrowed from Will Gere's wife Herta a pre-World War II Brazilian rosewood Martin guitar. And he carried it down the steps of the brownstone out into a rainstorm, and Herta Gere said to herself, I'll bet I'll never see that guitar again, and she was certainly correct. Woody walked through the snow to a little hotel at the corner of 43rd Street and 6th Avenue called Hanover House. And there in that little flea bag hotel, with a yellow pencil like the kids use in their classrooms, he proceeded to write that song about the United States. He wrote a 6-verse poem. He made the first verse a chorus. He appropriated the tune from an old Christian hymn that he'd heard on a Carter family recording. He put that song in a drawer with a bunch of other things he'd written because, you know, if you're going to write 1,000 American folk songs in 20 short years, you gotta hustle. But you know, Woody was a sick man. It didn't bother him much at that time in 1940, but Woody had something that you call Huntington's disease at that time in history. They didn't even have a name for it. But it got worse and worse, and by May 29th of 1956, the day that the New York City policemen found Woody wandering on the freeways, they took him to a hospital. And Woody Guthrie spent the last 13 years of his life laying in a hospital bed, fighting that Huntington's disease, a disease that takes away the use of your arms and legs and your fingers and toes. And as he lay there in that hospital bed, fighting that disease with all his might, that song that he'd written about the United States, it went around the world. Without ever being played on the radio or the television, mind you, it has become one of the best-known English language folk songs in the whole wide world. That means whatever language you speak, whatever country you live in, if you know one verse or one chorus of a song in the English language other than Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, Old MacDonald, and Happy Birthday, you probably know the one Woody made up at Hanover House at the corner of 43rd Street and 6th Avenue in February of 1940, just one long block from that New York Public Library. It's the one that goes like this. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. Now, I'm on the road about 200 days a year. I go from the Everglades in Florida right up to the Arctic Circle in Alaska. And I've never met a kindergarten teacher on any campus in the United States who doesn't share this song with his or her students. And that's why all the kids in the United States sing along when you start this one. But you know what? When Woody wrote this song 69 years ago, it really wasn't a children's song, because Woody had traveled through the United States during the Great American Depression. In 1929, the stock market crashed and the banks closed. And soon, 1 out of 3 people in the United States didn't have a job. Those were hard times, and there were a lot of hungry people. You know, my own grandfather was a carpenter in New York City. He said that he used to carry a 60-pound toolbox 5 miles each way to the job site in Manhattan, just to save a nickel each way on the subway. Now, you know, those are hard times when you'd carry a 60-pound box 10 miles every day, just so you'd have 1 extra dime to buy food for your children. Well, Woody Guthrie saw all those people out of work and went through those hard times, and he was thinking of them and of Irving Berlin's song, God Bless America, when he sat down at that desk at Hanover House with that pencil and that piece of notebook paper, and he wrote the first verse to the song you know as This Land Is Your Land. It went like this. In the shadow of the steeple, I saw my people by the relief office. I saw my people as they stood there hungry. I stood there asking, did God bless America for me? When Woody first made up the song, he wanted the chorus to say, it would say, God blessed America for me. But he found that This Land Is Your Land was more inclusive, to say, this land was made for you and me. It falls off your tongue a whole lot easier. You know, Woody recorded this song in the 40s for Moash and Folkways Records, but the record wasn't very widely distributed. My friend Frank Hamilton told me that the very first time he heard this song played was by a mandolin player on Staten Island. But you know, by 1965, when I was 5 years old, it seems like everybody in the United States knew the words to this song. And when Woody made up this song, he made up one of the verses that gives you a little insight into his worldview. Let me sing it for you now so you know the way he thought about things. It's the verse that went like this. As I was a-walking, I saw a sign there, and on that sign it said, no trespassing, but on the other side it didn't say nothing. Well, that side was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. Now, what most people don't remember is the great spiritual that Woody took the tune from. It's an old hymn they used to sing in the church down in Oklahoma, and it was one that was recorded by the Carter family. It's the one that went like this. Oh, my darling brother, when the world's on fire, do you want God's bosom to be your pillow? Won't you tide me over in the rock of ages? Oh, rock of ages, cleft for me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me.